Original or adapted, how good are the 10 Oscar-nominated screenplays this year? In this video, I'll rank them all, from the worst one to the very best. And we're gonna witness a gradual and clear escalation in quality of writing, from simplistic emptiness to intricate depth, from morose uneventfulness to razor-sharp structure, from indifferent disposable dialogue and cardboard characters to intelligent attentive language and psychological brilliance.
This book is finely crafted with fully developed characters and rich language.
Warning, in the lower positions I'm gonna be pretty bitchy. Here we go. Past Lives, written by Celine Song. A perfect example of what I call the skeleton screenplay. This is nothing more than an idea for a movie, missing muscle, meat, and life. The whole premise depends on the audience rooting for these two characters to end up together, or at the very least, believing they are destined to be together, which is a lot. But the script gives us no reason for it. Oh, when they were children they played together. They talked? So what? This is nothing more than a typical childhood friendship. There's nothing whatsoever special there. There are only two things that remotely indicate that these two could maybe end up together. Nora says that nobody cares when you're crying in New York, and we previously saw Haysam comforting his crying friend. And it was forecast there would be a storm when these two met, but the weather was fine. That's it, that's all that indicates they're soulmates. That and her husband being the world's limpest mangina.
I was just thinking about what a good story this is.
No, it's not. Nora, if you're the same person you were as a child, then sorry to break it to you, but you failed in life. She talks about the movie's theme, but it is not developed into actual dramatic situations. These characters are husks. They have no strong traits. This is lazy screenwriting.
와.
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 If a film tells you to think or feel something, don't fall for it.
와.
The Zone of Interest, written by Jonathan Glazer. Another skeleton script. This here is the dark side of art house cinema. It's the I give you the bare minimum, you put in all the work, you give me awards school of screenwriting. There's this scene in Schindler's List when Nazis are eliminating all the remaining Jews in the ghetto. And there's an officer who stops to play the piano perfectly while the carnage happens off screen. Two more soldiers arrive and discuss whether it's Bach or Mozart. Just a few seconds that perfectly illustrate the banalization of evil, how educated people can actively ignore the horror going on right next to them. The Zone of Interest hammers that exact idea for 105 minutes. I'd usually say it's a 15-minute short film stretched beyond all reason, but Spielberg proves it would work well enough in 15 seconds. The Zone of Interest is a nothing burger. None of the expectation of the scripts of Michael Haneke, none of the elaborate dialogue of Krasznahorkaye, none of the brilliance of Tonino Guerra. Even Jean Dillman builds towards something. Not this one. There's a couple scenes showing how these people casually internalized evil. Its solitary horror next door shtick might hold you for the whole runtime, but even then there's no way to justify it as an achievement in screenwriting. I blame Jacques Rivette and his text on abjection. Barbie, written by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. I can't believe this isn't in last place. I know this is a silly little cartoonish comedy, or at least it should be, but if you're gonna call it one of the best screenplays of the year, I'd at least expect some kind of internal logic. It's easy to be illogical. It shouldn't be easy to write an award-worthy script. Let me just talk about my big pet peeve.
It is literally impossible to be a woman.
I can't believe that people praise that monologue. It must be some kind of worldwide prank. Everybody knows that having a character spew out the movie's message with no discretion whatsoever is a huge storytelling no-no. But this is not even a well-written speech.
You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people.
It's just venting, with no beginning, development, or conclusion. If the point was to spell out the movie's message instead of showing a desperate, unintelligent character rambling, then this is bad writing. And come on, every complaint she lists deals with other people's expectations of you, not with any kind of violence.
You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy.
Being an adult is about not caring what the world expects of you and living life on your own terms. This is the poor little rich girl school of feminism. Just grow the fuck up. Barbie is quite often funny though.
I'll take a high-level, high-paying job with influence, please.
The world building, though disjointed, is a joy to see. Most of the time.
Oh god.
If it had stuck to shallow entertainment, it could have been terrific. But it saw too much shallow messaging. Western modern feminism for dummies.
You guys are clearly not doing patriarchy very well.
Maestro, written by Bradley Cooper and Josh Singer. Ah, Maestro. The film Bradley Cooper learned to walk to act in, learned to speak to direct, and learned to write to script. It's not very good. The screenplay suffers from a very simple failure. It has no structure. After Leonard and Felicia get married, it slouches through a series of similar scenes devoid of purpose and change. You have no idea what's the point of each scene or sequence, or even if there are sequences or acts. This complete lack of narrative drive makes the whole thing feel endless. There's nothing to measure the passage of time besides the characters getting older. Here, 70 minutes into the film, Leonard proclaims he finished composing Mass.
Hello, everyone. I have an announcement to make. I have finished Mass.
Wonderful! There's just one slight problem. We never knew he was composing Mass. We never know what Mass is or what it's for. Is this some crowning achievement in his career? I don't know. Then there's that embarrassing marital fight horribly acted like a stage play.
You're letting your sadness get the better of you.
This has nothing to do with me. It's about you, so you should love it.
This dialogue, it's hilariously artificial.
Waiting outside the fucking hospital for you like an idiot in my truth.
Your truth is a fucking lie.
If you write a film about a pretentious 20-something playwright featuring a scene of rehearsals for his obnoxious new play, this is exactly what it would look like.
And by us witnessing you do it so effortlessly, you hope that we will know, really know, deep in our core how less than we all are to you.
They're not talking about anything, it's just so vague.
It sucks up all the energy in every room and gives the rest of us zero opportunity to live or even breathe as our true selves. Your truth makes you brave and strong and saps the rest of us of any kind of bravery or strength.
It feels like a weak parody of Ingmar Bergman. Perhaps if it was in Swedish it would sound believable.
Well, at least my heart is open.
The audacity to say that!
There's also the fact the movie simply takes for granted how much Leonard is a genius.
He can be the first great American conductor.
But we are never shown why. We never find out what exactly is special about him. Guess Bradley Cooper should spend 12 years on his next picture, just in case. May-December, written by Sammy Birch. Spoilers. This is a fascinating examination of a disturbing relationship. Okay, it's not really fascinating, or even an examination. It's a film that features a disturbing relationship and it kind of drifts around that subject without digging anything deeply. I must give credit to the writing of character Gracie. The screenplay finds some discreet ways to show how this sweet housewife is actually a manipulative little monster. The scene when her daughter is trying on dresses and she calls her fat in the most indirect way.
I want to commend you for being so brave and showing your arms like that. That's something I always wished I could do when I was your age, just not care about these unrealistic beauty standards.
That's a terrific feat in character writing. And Joe almost has a character arc that is worthy of note. He flirts with the idea of having an affair, which makes him a perfect victim for the leechy actress. And when he realizes he was used, it leads him to wonder if he was also used by his wife. So we get that confrontation the film couldn't do without. He questions the very nature of their relationship.
What if I wasn't ready to be making those kinds of decisions?
And she proves how manipulative she truly is.
You seduced me.
But I was 13 years old.
Don't give me that.
Now we're getting somewhere.
If we're really as in love as we say we are, if we have that rare...
And end of scene. That was it? You don't feel like exploring that complexity? No? You sure? Well, I guess it's better to have nothing than something like this.
It's so fucking draining to love and accept someone who doesn't love and accept themselves. And that's the only truth I know about you.
Anatomy of a Fall, written by Justine Triet and Arthur Harari. There's something brilliant and brilliantly discreet in Anatomy of a Fall. Sandra's vocabulary. She's a German writer, living in France, and speaking mostly in English. And as a non-native speaker, she often switches her word choices between words that are very simple
He's okay. Yeah?
and robust literary terms.
It may seem like irrefutable proof, but actually warps everything.
Especially in French, which she doesn't master.
It's too complicated. Can I change the language, please?
When she's nervous, you can see her fighting to find the right words to choose before settling on one that's very basic.
But it will be like that. I have to
Yes.
admit things.
In this moment here, after using the word arrêter, stop, she stutters to find a different word so as not to repeat it. She fails and settles on repetition.
J'ai compris que ça allait pas s'arrêter. Ça rendait la discussion compliquée, non? Et donc, j'ai préféré arrêter.
In the script, this part is in English, so this detail might have been Sandra Hüller's acting, but let's pretend we don't know that. When Sandra's on a roll, she turns into an omniscient narrator.
Your generosity concealed something dirtier and meaner.
No, almost literally.
It was your choice to come here and start this renovation. This is your own trap.
She makes her own interpretations and presents them as literary objective prose.
He could not talk about the suicide attempt because his feelings of failure were just too painful.
She describes Samuel and his feelings the same way a modern writer, which she is, would describe a character's inner being.
He was overcome with guilt. And perhaps he never truly escaped that feeling.
Phenomenal character writing.
See his life as his own, whereas he should feel that it's his best life.
Too bad she's so boring.
Sometimes a couple is kind of a chaos.
Everybody's boring but the vexing prosecutor and that eccentric blood specialist. Everything's so realistic, so dry as bones, I don't even care if Sandra's guilty.
Maybe sometimes we expect too much.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, and the fight scene between Sandra and Samuel is perfectly well developed. You see, May December? And it works because they discuss several concrete subjects. You see, Maestro?
Let me at least finish. Let me finish what I'm going to say.
The Holdovers, written by David Hemmingson. Spoilers. A tale about a Grinch learning to love mankind during Christmas time thanks to an unexpected friendship. Not very original, but the characters shine.
No, he was a great kid. I had him one semester. Very insightful.
He hated you.
Well, like I said, sharp kid, insightful.
Too bad they're marred by such a cliched storyline. There's even the rubber ducky strategy. Why does Paul hate rich kids? Because in the past, one of them stole his rubber duck or something. And we spend far too much time with duds. That's how I call red herring characters who play no part in the plot. We waste half an hour getting to know this kid, and that one, and this one, and that one too. Then in comes a helicopter and off they go. Why do we need to learn that this boy wets his bed? Or this kid's parents are in Paraguay? They all leave the film 40 minutes in. What am I supposed to do with this information? If the whole point is Paul, Angus, and Mary, then cut these duds off and skip straight to the core. It would save us 20-30 minutes.
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
No, it's... I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
But character trumps plot every time, and both Paul and Angus are so interesting, intelligent, and articulate that the Holdover scores highly in what matters the most.
I told you to stop! You said you washed your hands of me! No, I meant it metaphorically! Of course you meant it metaphorically! What were you gonna do, actually go and wash your hands?
Poor Things, written by Tony McNamara. Spoilers. The film is divided into sequences that are perfectly well established. God's house in black and white, Lisbon, the ship, Alexandria, Paris, London, and Alfie's house. And except for the last sequence, none of them has much narrative purpose. Let's take Alfie's house. What is Bella's objective? To escape. What's there to stop her? Alfie shooting her in the head. What will happen if she doesn't escape? He'll snap her bean off. When is that? Tomorrow. That's a perfectly written sequence if I've ever seen one. Every other sequence is rather loose. Max is to study Bella. Forever. In Lisbon she's supposed to screw and explore?
I must go punch that baby.
Bella is a curious character in every way, and the screenplay is satisfied with letting her slowly discover the world. It doesn't make for compelling drama most of the time though, too loose.
Oh.
To compensate, the characters are terrific. Bella has an incredible story arc, and Duncan's arc manages to be hilarious, over the top, and somehow believable. Stupendous achievements. Now the fucking dialogue.
Why I keep it in my mouth if it is revolting?
Between this, The Favorite, and The Great, Tony McNamara has developed a type of idiosyncratic dialogue which I call Volcratic. It's pompous, highbrow speech ending in pornographic punchlines. It's especially entertaining since Bella tends to be over-literal and treat human emotions in a logical way.
And your sad face makes me discover angry feelings for you.
American Fiction, written by Cord Jefferson. An irresistible premise and a full ensemble of interesting, intelligent characters who speak funny dialogue rich in entertaining banter.
Something I've written never changed your life?
Absolutely. My dining room table was wobbly as hell.
Oh my God.
At first, I thought the film was spending too much time on the family subplot. And then it dawned on me. The family part is the main plot. The fake book bit, the film's standout premise, the actual high concept in this high concept satire, is the subplot. This is your typical family dramedy, with the aging mother, the problem brother, the death of a loved one. The farcical segments take up surprisingly few pages, which is a sad waste.
Yeah, goddammit.
Motherfucker. Right, okay.
Still, unlike Barbie, delivers a complex message not by messaging, but by building fully developed characters and having them discuss differing worldviews.
Is it bad to cater to their tastes?
If you're okay feeding people's base desires for profit.
I'm okay with giving the market what it wants.
That's how drug dealers excuse themselves.
And ultimately, it reminded me how my friends have been telling me for years to dumb down my videos to get more views.
The dumber I behave, the richer I get.
And I wonder, should I?
American Fiction is awesome. I laughed a lot. You should totally watch it. I rate it one super cool dance move.
I know, I broke the first rule of sales. Never underestimate how stupid everyone is.
Oppenheimer, written by Christopher Nolan. My only complaints deal completely with the romantic relationships. Jean and Kitty being prickly seem to come out of nowhere.
I have been going to him all fucking day.
If the point of this scene was to make us feel like a clueless husband, then it's a success. The naked in public bit is too silly a metaphor, and stopping a joyless sex scene to pick up a book and have the protagonist literally read an important quotation is a fine example in how not to work a line into a scene. And Grove says Oppenheimer is a ladies' man.
A womanizer.
No, he's not. Rule of 3, Chris. You need to show him with at least 3 women to create a pattern. What we see is one girlfriend, then one wife. Not exactly Hugh Hefner there. If he was having a fling with Ruth, then it should have been revealed before that line. Romance aside, this screenplay is a masterpiece. The screenplay structure is amazingly creative. Oppenheimer's story is framed by his humiliating hearing, in parallel with Straw's own humiliating hearing. His downfall being caused precisely because he caused Oppenheimer's downfall. This is just beautiful, complex dramaturgy. It's the loser's tragedy hiding behind the story of rise and fall, like Salieri and Mozart, Aaron Burr and Hamilton. And as complex and fast-moving as Oppenheimer needs to be, Nolan writes perfect, intelligent and well-characterized dialogue. Mind how in their first meeting, Strauss is courteous while Oppenheimer is a conceited prick.
Greatest scientific mind of our time. Of his time. I chose to sell shoes.
Louis Strauss was once a lowly shoe salesman.
No, just a shoe salesman. I'm self-made now.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Really?
Yes, my father was one.
Of course he'd cause resentment. There is enormous care given to the meaning of each word.
By 1942, you're actively pushing the development of the hydrogen bomb, weren't you?
Pushing's not the right word. Supporting it and working on it, yes.
And about how characters think or thought about their words.
Can a distinction be made between Soviet communism and communism?
Well, in the days when I was a member, I thought they were definitely two things.
There's a distinction between what one thought in the past and what one thinks now.
Under my interpretation of the Atomic Energy Act, which did not exist when I hired Dr. Oppenheimer in 1942,
and what one thinks about what one thought in the past.
My awareness of the danger would be greater today.
I mean, what you think about the way you thought before.
Well, supposing there had been a target in Japan big enough for a thermonuclear weapon, would you have been opposed to the dropping of it?
This was not a problem with which I was confronted.
Well, I'm confronting you with it now, sir.
This level of psychological complexity is huge and rare. Take the character of Rob, or as I like to call him, the Grand Inquisitor. He's a master of using words to trick his victims into giving the exact answers he's seeking. It's basically this Family Guy strategy, and it's beautiful.
Which of the following two phrases best describes Brian Griffin? Problem drinker or African-American haberdasher?
I guess problem drinker, but that's...
Thank you.
A general and a genius fall for it.
Sexual deviant or magic picture that if you stare at it long enough, you see something?
Well, sexual deviant, but that other one's not even...
Thank you.
Then it's up to the suffering wife to show how it's done.
It's your question. It's not properly phrased.
It's by not accepting the phrasing that's given to you and using your own phrasing.
Did you know this money was going into Communist Party channels?
Don't you mean through?
Pardon?
I think you mean through Communist Party channels, don't you?
Yes.
Yes?
A blockbuster film with semantic distinctions. Profoundly intelligent dialogue, an effective tragical double plot, and an intricate and perfectly organized structure. That's the best screenplay we have, by far.